Yes. Does
Mm.
daddy love you? Yes.
Mm.
And like a 2-year-old could get it. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
That's right. That's right.
And just these seemingly nonsensical, just kind of silly little phrases or prayers, or like, okay, we do this every single night, or we say this prayer every morning. God bless us as we, whatever. But it's pounding into their, I don't know, their mind, probably multi-level,
Yes.
into their minds, into that they
In
memorize
their
it,
hearts.
and then it'll go into their hearts,
Yeah.
and then if the family's living it out, it'll go into their spirits, and then, man, like it sets up a rhythm for them to, okay, in the morning we connect with God,
Yeah.
and at night we connect with God, and we're reminded, and all of the time we're reminded. I read another book called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality
Okay.
by Peter, I believe, Scazzaro.
Mm.
And he talked, who's a charismatic, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about learning from monks and their stations throughout the day. Like, why don't we learn from the people whose job it is to minister to the Lord, right?
Yeah.
And to know God. And so 5 times a day, they say these prayers 5 times a day, and they devote themselves to that. And so whatever it is for me or for you will be different. But why just like leave my Bible reading or my prayer in the morning when so often I need it all throughout the day?
Good point.
So why not take, like, just write down a prayer and just say the same thing, something that you need often, that because you know what you need, and just say it when you're eating lunch, and take a minute. You know what I mean? And say it at night. And so all of these things we can drill into our children as well, and that's training.
Yeah.
It's training them what we do, but we have to live by it as well. It has to be real. Live by it as well. It has to be real.
It has to be real. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people that grew up in, Christian churches with a lot of liturgy, a lot of ritual.
Right.
And it became just going through the motions, not really meaning anything.
And I heard recently something on the radio, the Christian radio. It's a preacher saying it's not just ritual, it's relationship.
Yes.
And I'm like, those two things aren't necessarily opposing each other.
Yes, I believe that.
I think ritual can lead to relationship, especially in the life of a child.
Yeah. I equate this a lot to martial arts. If you guys don't know, I've been a lifelong martial artist in many different disciplines. But there's a commonality in all martial arts. Repetition makes perfect, Nobody can be perfect, but repetition causes your muscle memory, your reaction to be correct. And then once you got that, then you can add the art to the martial.
Right.
Where you can break the rhythm and do something completely different and score a punch or a kick, get a position to get a submission, those kinds of things.
Well, it reminds me of music. You have to, which I'm trained musician.
Yeah.
You have to learn all the scales, and
yes,
you have to practice. When you practice, I haven't played piano for probably a good 6 years.
Yeah.
And your parents have a beautiful little grand piano, and I just started playing again. And I was reading the notes, and my hands went to the notes, and I was like, wait a minute, do I know that? Is that the right note? And I would like count it out, FACE, and I would like do all the things, and I was like, that's the right note. My hand just went there.
Yeah, all catechism is discipline to know what you believe. And I see a lot of the man on the street type of interviews where people proclaim to be Christian and people ask them, what is the Trinity? How does Jesus' sacrifice cleanse you of sin? Like the basics. And they have no clue. They have no clue, especially young people.